Yeah, Nasser Esports, as I said in the first game, top 3 in terms of points secured in this map. 13.5 per game so far. Valdez are in second, and DRS, the Nepal team that I really want to see step up today across all 5 games, are the highest scoring team in Sanhok. So let's see if they can repeat it. But one also interesting fact about that last game, which I really have to bring up, Navi's 32-point win was the first game that we've had over 30 points and the highest scoring individual game so far in the PMWI.
Big pointers. I mean, that's what Blank said right the other day, is Navi's or they get 0 or they get 35 points, right? He hit the nail on the head on that one. Yep. Except when he said that you called the rotation win. That was me, Blank. But I said they were going to do that.
Was it you? You sure?
It was me. Yes, it was me. Don't steal my things away, okay? We're not going to do a Kalaris 2.0 when he steals my predictions when I was right, okay? I'm having too many issues. Talking about issues, though, Yalla Esports can have their issues, as BTR are not dropping in Pineland this time. They're going straight in boot camp.
Okay.
Ida, be careful.
But I love this because this is maybe BTR reclaiming their throne or doing something to go, no, we're sick of being passive, we're sick of giving things up, we're sick of kind of conforming to other teams. This is our game, this is our tournament. And I love that. I'm not saying it's going to work out, but I really appreciate what they're trying to do by dropping in boot camp.
Well, that is the change of pace. it's that. That is what we were talking about. Circle's going to be popping up in just a few, and it is going to be actually somewhat similar. A lot more water going to be coming into play, though. BTR going to be taking that fight. Jamaz will be overwhelmed. Nice jump shot from Luxy. As Loka in the background, with Ida still alive, by the way, but a little bit too far to really be of any kind of assistance for the rest of his team. They hear the footsteps. Loka going to try and make it over, try and confirm those kills on the 2 players of BTR, maybe even get himself a 3rd. He's full HP currently. Just 2 or 3 bullets will be enough to really get rid of Luxy. As Rising goes for a little bit of a wide spread, waiting for Ida. You got to wait for Ida to really join you up. He goes for the re-engage. He gets himself the 3rd kill for Yalla Esports. Now you've got to try and confirm them. Ida needs to join up, and you need to take that 1v2 versus Ryzen. Ryzen knows that he's having a hard time to confirm the kills while they still can. They know this is Ryzen. They could get 1v2. They do not want to take any risk. And with the UMP, he's taking a severe beating. Just one more bullet and he's gone. And they tried to change the pacing of their Sanhok games, Imperium, but that is already BTR out of the game in 60.
Man, look, I love and appreciate that BTR pulled it off, but credit to Yalla as well. You know, it's a significant sign that Yalla are here to stay, right? They're not here to step down and let another team take over. They performed so well in this tournament so far. Coming into today's game, they were 6th overall. That speaks for itself. Respect them. And Yalla, they showed in this game so far, wiping out BTR in boot camp. As that went on, phase 1 popped up. It has gone up north, mostly encapsulating the mainland, but there is a good chunk of that northwest island in play, which could threaten a few of the teams if it does shift over to the west on phase 2. And I'm interested to see how Navi and Fnatic Zombies are going to pull out the rotations. Based on what we saw yesterday, both teams should be okay, because remember, Navi pulled out pretty solid rotation in yesterday's Sanhok game, as did Fnatic Zombies. But with more of the Northwest Island in play, I'm curious if they're both going to commit to that side of the map.
There are also some very notable changes that happened throughout our last 2 games of Sanhok, and this one, where I'm looking at it, we got Zeus not dropping on the southern side of Paradise Resort anymore. They're going for the high ground position, just right down south over that road, and I think it's way stronger for them to actually play in that position, because you're not going to get overwhelmed by Valdez if they try and rotate early, which I love. But not only that, GeekFam is another team that changed their drop. Typically, they would go more towards the more western side of the map, and they used to have a little bit of a point of contestment with the likes of Na'Vi. No, this time they're going for Kampong. They're taking things very slow in a similar fashion to the likes of IA, to the likes of, for example, even DRS, and they just want to avoid the fights early game entirely, which I'm okay with. I think that's a great change of pacing coming out from GeekFam.
It is a good change of pace. Let's see if it works out. Little bit of time now to settle as we get into this game 2. Blacklist are holding down the trifecta compound, and blowing down Reject. On their rotation Reject, you're opting to go more for that main road on the Northwest Island. The Xavier once again going for that spread across the coastline of the mainland. It didn't work out for them in yesterday's games. I hope they've learned from what was a couple of obvious mistakes that allowed them to get then backstabbed by Navi in yesterday's game. But with more of that kind of north coastline in this third Sanhok game of the PMWI, I think it's important for the Xavier to stick more closely as a 2-2-2 split rather than 2-1-1 split, because there's most obviously going to be a lot more teams hovering around their area.
That split is actually the reason how they lost players to Na'Vi. That's exactly what happened yesterday. So I'm okay if they're staying with the 2-2 split, but as long as you're prepared that there's a chance the team will be able to get behind you and slap you right through the face, then that's fine. They just need to be aware that that is something that could happen, and you must be fully prepared for it.
Have you ever been slapped in the face?
I would say so, yeah, if you haven't, right?
That's true.
I get slapped through the face, like, across the face by bots every day, you know, in PUBG, so that's fine, though. 6ix9ine might just get slapped a little bit here by DS Gaming. And jump on over. They spotted him out. He's going to try and get up, but unfortunately starts praying a little bit too late. Now A1 going to try and fight back, but 6ix9ine is just impossible to give him back. He is going to be lost to the tides. As, that's going to be the first kill, going over to the side of DS Gaming. They're going to be able to start it off really well. Satan going to be knocked down too, but well, on the position they currently are, A1 is clearly not going to push it, so they can go for the res and or go for the push or just leave.
I respect that from DS Gaming because it's a fantastic hill to control, and they recognize that by going up there as a full squad. Whereas A1 split is quite weird and a bit disconnected. By having two in the compound down below and then one on one sniper tower and then one up on the hill, you're asking for trouble. You're asking to be picked off. And that's exactly what happened to them. So I'd like them to see a bit better, you know, uniform setting up from A1 in these fights throughout the game. Reject are getting punished as they cross the Western Bridge, by the way. And DRS still hold on to the far eastern coastal line. Recognizing once again that a team could still, if they wanted to, take a botation and head on up to the coastline on the east side of the map. So I respect that they're aware of that.
I'm not going to lie, and I've said it recently, I love some of the rotation coming out from Reject. I think they're very strong on their macro game. But yeah, this is one of their rotations where I have a big question mark in my mind as to why would you commit to the Northwest Island?
Oh, yeah.
That early on, when you were literally in the trifecta and you could have made your rotation in phase 2, phase 3 so much damn easier. And they're like, we'll put the game in easy mode for absolutely no reason. So for that reason alone, I'm like, Reject, that is not a good rotation in my eyes.
Poor decision.
It's way too early to commit, and if you're looking at the odds are especially going to be against you because the Northwestern Island is a big chance that the circle is not going to go there. So it is going to hurt them a lot in the long run.
Never mind the fact that even looking back on yesterday's game would have told you that the Xavier was going to be in a very similar position, right? So it's even a little bit weirder in that regard. You're dead right about that trifecta position for phase 2, phase 3 would have been a much easier rotation for them. But it is what it is. They only lost one. They'll continue on. He has control that mountainside up on the north. Valdez, instead of sticking to the south of Paradise Resort, by the way, a little bit similar to day one Sanhok game, they've opted to go for that kind of northeast area ahead of Paradise Resort, which I think is quite strong.
Wait, he's not trying to squeeze right through. Snipes was absolutely unaware of where Mafia Ninja was standing, so DRS now very spread though. There's only Mafia Ninja that's on the front line. The rest of the team going to take some suppressing shots to try and some kind of assistance over to Mafia Ninja's position, but we know that's going to be so hard to really achieve. He's trying to really regulate the tides with that molly. And go for the double.
Beautiful.
I'm loving how he's playing this so far. I think he had a Thompson tune his loadout, so that's great. And look at the angle from AJ, having so much time to really wrap around to the side. I mean, Geekfam tried to beat 10,009 Q, but unfortunately they lose their life in the process. It's only one player will remain. That will be Damn Rude, and he's going to have to try and swim his way through. And DRS know that he's going to be in the water, but the blue zone is not going to make it easy for Damn Rude to really survive. Yeah, I mean, it was an attempt, but we know that DRS play edge on that position. They should have been a little bit more prepared for a fight.
Yeah, it's also so good for Mafia Ninja because after he got the knock, he instantly chucked out a Molotov. What did that do? It separated the Geek Fan members, it slowed them down, while the rest of his team was supporting him. So really well played, and we move over to IA going up against Yala Esports Crypto, making that work. Blade lost his life. So will Johnny, unfortunately, but still 2 players up. Use NM gets it up, and that is Yala taken out by IA.
Crossing those sections of open land in between these compounds is so hard and always tricky. You've got to be sure you get the right information beforehand. Gonna have a little bit of information of how that fight actually went down, as you did miss a bit of the action. Ida did start it off with the first knock, but it seemed like at the end, the fact that they were a little bit far away from each other did give the advantage over to the opposing team. So, decent attempt, but unfortunately that will be all from the Saudi Arabian team of Yala Esports. Though another fight's going to be happening. 2 teams wrecking the yellow color, as they're going to be Fnatic Zombies versus Na'Vi. Fnatic Zombies very far apart, so better to start regrouping because Na'Vi, they're going in hard.
Really are. I love this play from Na'Vi, but they're going into the warehouse. It doesn't provide a lot of cover. That was a great grenade through the in-hole window of the building, but Salam's separation makes it work. He gets a lovely knock into Tixi.
Yeah, especially Tixi, that's the one you want to take down. He's going to be definitely one aggressive player given the chance. Fnatic Zombies trying to push it out, and yeah, Na'Vi understood that this is not going to be the fight they want to take. I think that what the play was here is that Hamco Fire was serving a little bit as a bait, trying to pull all of Na'Vi in while the rest of Fnatic Zombies had actually positions. I was a little bit skeptical for a moment, but seemed like now the opposed...
Oh, so good, man.
They're giving back a shot their own medicine. Now Na'Vi are waiting. Fnatic Zombies trying to go for the push. They had the man advantage. Mexico knocked them down. Now it's a 3v3.
That's nice.
It's a very good grenade, but Manic just clearly pushing into the open a little bit weirdly so. Able to find himself a little bit of a area to relax from. Nade versus Nade, who will connect it first. Like the attempt, get some decent damage onto a boot. Matic taking a lot of damage from that one too. But Salam also on the very far angle. There's a big wraparound actually from one of the players of Na'Vi. I believe it's Kitsune right now. Yeah.
So good from Na'Vi. Very well prepared for them, right? Recognizing that they were too much together. They had to separate in this fight.
I love how they're playing it, especially that off angle by Kitsune just set them up so well. Took a lot of pressure off the shoulders of Na'Vi. Reject in the background. Knowing Reject, I don't think this is a third party they're really going to go for. I think they're going to let that one go and slip out of their grasp. They would not be fully involved in that one, I would say. I wouldn't be too scared about that happening. Fnatic Zombies, more utility, and there's a lot of back and forth here, and they are not in a circle. We did talk about it, right? The circle did move back to the mainland over to the east. I would say leaving it is fine, so that's exactly what Na'Vi are going to do as they leave the scene completely, almost unscathed, as only one player actually goes down.
I disagree with that. Not gonna lie, I disagree with it, just because of how open that area is outside of Hatting. Plus, they've already made a good bit of noise. The Xavier are still there waiting. It's a question of what are Na'Vi actually going to do upon this disengagement. I credit because it's you know, going away from it technically in a needless fight, but I would say that fight is a little bit more important than they think. But let's see how they do react to it. They could go for that swim across and head into boot camp on phase 2. It couldn't work out for them. That phase 2 shift was quite nice for a lot of these teams that are already in the mainland.
I'm surprised. Every single game on Sanhok has ended somewhat around Paradise. And it might just be the case again if it centers up. It actually does go for relatively hard shift over to the eastern side. But still, Valdis is going to be in there. Same for I8, even though they did take a pretty big L earlier. Only having Uzadem and Crypto still up and ready to go. But this is such a great opportunity for none other than NASA Esports. They have such a very easy entry point. A lot of compounds to pick from. This is a game where I want to see NASA turn this one into a win. I want to see a dub. I want them to be first place because not only because I would like to see it, but because they kind of need it also.
Yeah, they do kind of need it for sure. But they're going to have probably Zeus heading in their direction, Myths coming in from the blue. So we saw yesterday in the Sanhok game, despite them performing relatively well, they were kind of slow to engage on a team sometimes, most notably DRS in yesterday's game. So if there's two teams coming up in their direction, I wonder how quick they're going to be able to react. Time will tell. Either way, they have a fantastic spot. Valdis opting to go from the west of Paradise to now the east of Paradise out by the entrance. They should be able to target towards A1/DS, but I don't know how much information they have on where those two teams are.
I think they understood, especially from yesterday's game where they took third, where if you rotate too late away from Paradise, you're going to have a hard time. So they started moving a little bit quicker. What? What do you see?
Look
What
at
do
the
you see?
boat skin. Look at the boat skin. Is that like a rubber ducky boat skin?
Lucky rubber ducky, yeah. Oh, another duck. Man, we're on brand. What's happening? Did they have a meeting before this? Did all be
That's a bit quackers, that is.
You didn't know?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Jason, can we find someone else to replace Imperial, please? Oh man, we'll see.
I found that way too funny.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. Anyways, Xavier not going to find this game funny whatsoever. They're taking this actually pretty damn seriously, as they had a big 4-man spread. Actually, they spread a little bit more after their initial drop.
Yeah.
They had a 2-2, then they had a 4 spread. Now they're starting to go back towards a 2-2. They see Fnatic Zombies, Na'Vi also trying to cross, but Meku and Matic, they are very, very far away from each other. They're just trying to find different entry points and taking the safe option out because they know that this is not a fight and this is not a game they're going to win. They're like, okay, this is Sanhok, we're going to crawl in, we're going to play it sneaky. We're aiming for positioning points and clearly not for kills this game.
Yeah, and it was low-key helpful to them that the circle did shift over to the east rather than the west. Even though they're further from the circle on that phase 3 shift, there's a less chance that teams are going to be essentially around them on the entry point. You know, right now it's only Blacklist International, whereas Paradise Resort, as much as I wouldn't advise a team to go there when, you know, desperate times down to 2 players, desperate measures, go into Paradise. It's a safe haven at this stage of the game if you can get there. I know Meku is very reluctant to move too much further. Xavier are now starting to move in. They have 2 people in as an anchor point. Myths very respectfully going around Camp Bravo to give them more information. I really like that.
There you go, no more Paradise Resort. I would personally recommend any team to go in Paradise. It's so hard to move away from it. It's good to defend it when it talks about rotating away, because you've got so many strong compounds, especially to the east. That's one of the hardest points to really move away from in Paradise itself. You want to avoid it altogether. Otherwise, A1, Valdus, and even the side of I8 are going to be putting sticks in your wheels. Though, yes, Gaming from South Korea going to be going for the assault to the Bangladesh team of A1. They're down to 3. 6ix9ine did get taken down relatively early. Dante, Jax, we have to hold on strong to the front line. Jax, unfortunately, not putting too much of a fight. Dante is going to be hitting down in this building. Sinister a little bit further away. So they're just giving 1v3s over to DS Gaming actually pretty easily. Dante, they're trying to close that gap a little bit more. He's going to be spotted away. A great nade actually coming through from Sadin. And now Sinister trying to pick up the pieces he's hoping for at least, but we all know that this is not a fight you try and take, but you just can't leave anymore. You've got a rope behind you, you're pinned down, there is no escape for Sinister.
Steamrolled, absolutely steamrolled by DS, and look, all 4 players going in.
Energy.
No man behind, no mercy. So good from DS. Yes, it was probably a poor defensive setup from A1, and they should have expected something, right? They were already outside the circle. They knew DS Gaming were there. Realistically, DS were either going to crash or try to wrap around them. A1 were not set up for anything there. They were very passive inside those buildings.
I thought that was the 100-meter Olympics for a second. Like they were like 1, 2, 3, and they all pushed at the exact same time. That is what we call synergy and good communication executed by DS Gaming, and it worked out great to overcome the likes of Sinister. Now going into this game, of course, it did shift away to the now southeast position. All teams are trying to pick up a few little positions under control. NASA's looking pretty good. Same for DRS, even though they do have to regroup, but that's reject out of the game. They already were down to 2 players very quickly early on. So there was not really too much of a fight they could really put up.
They did get 2 kills. They took down 2 players and Xavier with them, so they'll take it before they went out. It was DRS that took them out in the end.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's it. Oh, that nade. I think he saw it for a second. He's got to get up to the heel. I saw an M249 actually. But from behind, that's going to be a sneaky third party from Blacklist International, indeed Imperium. Though NASA also going to be struggling a bit. Na'Vi were down to 2 players. We know that was going to be a really hard game for them. As movement inside their building, you can't escape the nade. It's just too good. It's too strong. Respectfully, of course, he's going to be nading that one up. NASA trying their best to move out of that position in the first place. Amze and Nabo behind that wall. They know they saw the third party, and I think they're trying to use that to their advantage by trying to move away out of the fight and maybe trying to stop Zeus from really chasing them down. But this is still a really hard fight for NASA to take in the first place. But they are in circle, which means that Zeus will have to move in eventually, and that is something NASA needs to be fully prepared for.
Yeah, that's true, but you know, the longer you leave it, the higher chance they're still going to end up getting third. parted yourself. The Xavier lose another one. It's just Lamborghini left on his own. DS yet to move into the circle. Valdis are somewhat gatekeeping. The Myths are on the edge of the circle. I8 are outside of the circle. There's very few teams because the center is unplayable. It's all edge play.
I'll say right now, though, you're looking at DS Gaming, they need to push onto Valdis. If they try and go through any other means into the circle, Valdis are just going to be able to take some Hail Mary shots and just completely obliterate your position in the first place. So they need to take this fight, and they need to rotate from this compound into the circle. There's no options, DS Gaming. Oh, you can't avoid, but you can't avoid that nade because it's so damn clean from 6. As they're down to 3, DS Gaming. If you want to push it, you need to be careful and snappy. If you stay behind those walls, you're prone to take nade and utility damage. That is something you want to avoid at all costs.
You say it all the time and you're dead right with that. You stick to a wall. You're asking for a nade to hit you in the face. And it's slowing DS Gaming down even more. 2 players are knocked down. Sporta is pushing through while his teammate says that he is getting a revive onto Missile that may work out for the time being. Valdis, they're ready to hold on. They get their own revive off.
They get it done. Look, enough seemed like Valdis were not trying to absolutely shred it with utility. The flashbang did come up through, but it seemed like it wasn't able to quite connect onto Valdis. They're still going to be keeping that information, but DS Gaming now actually closing that gap more and more. Valdis are getting slowly but surely pinned down in one singular building, meaning that nades and mollies would be even more impactful for DS Gaming if they really want to get some significant damage onto Valdis. Also gets the trade-off with Gui.
Nice.
He's going to try and also get himself involved in that fight, but where is it going to be? Missile, he needs to join the fight too, but the off angle actually through the window and through the door. He paid so much dividends. But now it's a one-on-one. Martin is going to be the only player remaining with Missile of DS Gaming. But he's not going to go for the push, and he's leaving his players trying to move away. You had one opportunity to go for the push and take that one-on-one, but now he gave too much time, and that's Concept back on his 2 feet, and Valdis might come back up as a 4-man.
Not gonna lie, bit of a mistake made by Valdis. They shouldn't allow DS to get back into this fight, let's be fair, because they had 2 DS players knocked out. They could easily have pushed in, got the squad wipe, and moved out of the blue. But now Martin is left on his own with Concept. There's no way, shape or form they're going to get the revive onto 6 or Gui. They're out of it right now. Well, DS, they've left just 1 player left up.
I was so surprised by DS because we saw that push they had earlier, right, versus 8-1 and Sinister. The synergy was on point. Where was it there? It seemed like they were just under pressure and they just couldn't deal with the pressure that was put on their shoulders at that time. So hoping still a bit more consistency on that synergy point at least. Zeus in a rescue of Broly of Myth, one of the players that has been impressing me significantly for the entirety of Myth's squad. We want to see a little bit more, but unfortunately the blue doesn't have any... he had a first aid, but not going to be popping it this time around. And now all the teams, this is it. Papa Blue, as Mustache Dave would like to say, is going to be coming into the play. And NASA are in position. We've got to be careful. If you peek on over, Valdis will try and punish you. And Zeus are also over to the east. NASA's got a lot to live up to.
Nabo tickling down, sliver of health in his hands. Martin being a snake monster that he is, while Zeus is on the other side. Still up as a 3-man team. This could be their win. But at the end of the day, say what you want, as good as Zeus are doing, Valdis are doing just as good, and that lead, that gap between first and second continues to grow.
That's gone. That's done so for NASA to get eliminated in 4. 3 teams now remain. You got a little bit of a heal up from Missile from DS Gaming actually in the blue up north. So he's trying to hope and snatch away a 3rd place. So Martin trying to push out. Not much could really do. So the control of Zeus is so good. They are relentless on this circle control right now. I'm absolutely loving every single second of it. But Gui is already trying to eke his way forward over to the more western side. Missile's still alive. There's a battle. See who will survive the longest. Is it Missile or is it Gui? Seemed like Missile doesn't have any more first aid, so he's going to try and rush over. Can he see Gui for a second? I thought he did right there, but apparently he didn't have the time to actually go for the shot. Now it's going to be a 2nd position for Gui. Zeus will be pushing out far and wide. Gui got spotted away, trying to go for the shot. Does get Icy down, but Gui just can't do anything. And the faithful...